Second. What about now? Now you can hear me? Okay, good, good, good. Okay, sounds good. Just give me a second to figure things out on my screen, and we will start in a minute. Okay, let's roll. So, can you guys see my screen now? Oh yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for providing such a valuable feedback. That's why this is the magic, of polls. Even though you might think sometimes it's like overwhelming and annoying, but it works. Yeah, sometimes we need to, step in and fix the mess. Okay, anyways, so you can see my screen, right? So let's roll. Just before we even start, just very, very quickly, API, or I don't know, web architecture 101. I'm going to use this image here. Hold on, where is that? I want it to be big. So you can see the image, right? Okay, thank you. Yes. So, I mean, so in programming world, they actually have this word. It's a principle, and it's called KISS. Like a kiss, and it's keep it stupid simple. That's the concept, and I'm not joking. That's a real principle that programmers use. So this is like my example of a KISS principle. So this is the internet, right? So this image represents the whole internet basically. What do we see on the left side? This client. What is the client? Give me the answer. Okay. Yes. Us. Yes, that's a front end. So we're gonna stick to some kind of more technical definitions, right? So this is front end. In this particular example, it's some kind of laptop, so I would assume it's a web application. So we have on the right side, well, I cannot ask what it is, right? It's a database. On the very, very back end, it's a database. And database, nothing but a storage. So imagine, let's say, library, right? So huge library, like actual library with books, right? Huge library, and it has like everything you can even only imagine, right? The problem is, well, few things. First of all, you don't want everyone, to be allowed in the library. At least you want to make them to get some kind of pass, right? It could be, I don't know, free pass. It could be premium pass, right? You want to restrict sometimes access to like adult books, let's say, versus like books for kids, and so on, right? So you want to first of all uh, give some kind of permissions. At the same time, you may have some like technician workers, let's say electrician, and that guy can actually access anything and even more, right? So some kind of admin, let's say. So, and all that is done by what? Now it's a question. Who does that? Yes, exactly. API. Or let's stick to backend, right? So backend, it's a application, basically like a guardian, like a, I don't know, librarian. So some kind of application that based on like access type, on permission, on like many different factors, it can allow access to library. Plus, on top of that, uh, some uh, some of the people have their own private information, right? If you put everything in library in some kind of book, let's say, so now anyone can just see personal information of anyone, right? No, that's not the case. So you want to restrict especially those things, you want to restrict them again. So this is all done by basically API, which is a backend, right? So we have 3 tiers here. So what's the beauty? Why we need like API here? Why wouldn't we just allow clients do like whatever they need to do with the database? Let's say we will deploy the code on the front end because it's still application, right? It's a web application. So there is a code, which is JavaScript code. It's running on the client side. Why wouldn't we just bypass the backend and just by basically allowing front end to get access to database? And we can basically delegate that to front end, right? We can restrict the permissions and all that. Why wouldn't we do that? Any ideas? Because technically you see it's overhead, right? We have 2 applications. One is a front end running in the browser of the end customer, and another one is a backend, which is server. Why would in the world we would want to develop 2 applications when we can do just one? Okay, yeah, so the answer is basically security. Exactly, I agree with you because client, you see the trick, it's a client hardware, it's a client computer. Basically, everything that runs on the client machine belongs to who? Belongs to client, right? So it doesn't work like that. So we need some sort of policeman, like third party, keeping an eye on a client. So that's why, on the other hand, backend runs on our servers. This is our computers, like company computers, right? Servers, all the infrastructure, it belongs to company. Company is in charge of keeping things safe and private and all that stuff. Sometimes, of course, they get hacked, and well, that's another issue. But that's their problem, all right? Well, okay. Now we know that we have 2 applications. So tell me, where's another picture here? I'm gonna show you some. Where was that? Just give me a second. This one will work. I'm going to give you a clue here. So at least, even though we have to develop the backend, right? At least we can do some optimizations here. So how many front ends do we have usually? Like different types. Let me make it bigger. Yeah. Okay, right. 5 on the left. Yeah. So basically, idea here is the following. We have one backend right? It's always one backend. So usually backend team is bigger, and it's basically like a gatekeeper. So it's very important. It's a very complex application. It all the traffic goes through that backend. So it's a single application. But on the other hand, we have quite a few front ends. So for example, if you take Google Maps, right? So if you have an iOS device, you can download Google Maps app on your iPhone, let's say, right? You can download Google Maps on your Android phone as well. Back in the days, you could download it for your like Windows phone, whatever mobile operating system it was, right? You can also use it from the browser itself. You can actually use it from your computer. Just open the browser, go to maps.google.com. It will be web version, right? At the same time, you can, even on your mobile device, nothing stops you from actually opening like whatever browser you use on your mobile device without downloading the app. So, so what's the, you see the difference here. So front end, it's different versions. It's actually different applications. So because that part, that piece that you download on your phone, that's a front end. Basically, you pre-download the front end so it doesn't take time to load from the internet. When it comes to web application, everything, every time you go to, you type in some address in the address bar, you hit enter, everything gets downloaded, front end and back end in your browser. On the mobile devices, front end, if you use a mobile app, native app, front end is pre-downloaded already, right? Does it make sense, guys? So you're saving on sequential downloads, basically. You download it once in the beginning, and after that, it's already on your phone or your pad or whatever. Well, for Windows, you can download these apps pretty much the same way now. And that's why web applications are slower, because you need to download it all one more time. Every time you hit URL, go to some page, you download both front end and back end. You switch the page, you download both things again. But technically, so the difference here is that like front end is like a template. It's like empty. So if you go to any, sometimes you can actually see that. So especially like a Facebook mobile device, you open it, and in the very beginning, it's basically a white screen with like empty images and empty text lines. They are gray. And then you wait for a few seconds, and then boom, your feed shows up, right? So why? Because front end is already there, and you can actually see that. Backend hasn't responded to your request yet. So that's why your feed is empty. So basically, again, we are getting all the data from the backend, from the database by utilizing backend. Backend sends that data to us. So it's all about data. That data includes like messages, files, images, like whatever it is, right? Does it make sense, guys, so far? Okay, good. So when it comes to backend, so there are three most popular types of APIs. So one is SOAP API that was briefly introduced to you, which is right here. I don't want to go too much into details. Why? Because it's developed by Microsoft. It's kind of old and dated, and not that many companies use that. Even though if you work for like insurance or banking applications or companies, you have a high chance to actually work with SOAP. It's very similar to REST, which we will cover today. But it's actually easier than the rest. So they will give you a link. which is called, what's this? I haven't worked with SOAP for like ages now. Wisdom file, I believe that's the name. So they will give you basically a link. You will open that in your browser. You will see all the endpoints, everything, like the whole documentation is there. So really nothing to worry about. Just take it and do the stuff. For REST, they have to give you a link with documentation. And luckily, we have very, very nice documentation written for our application. So it's really working with this application is just a piece of cake. Otherwise, the problem with REST, and sometimes that's what I'm seeing working for my company, developers say like, hey, this endpoint is already tested. I'm like, I have no idea. How do I get there? Like, what should I get back? Like, what's the payload? Is it get or post? Like, how in the world I can guess that? There's no way I can guess that. So they have to provide that information. Otherwise, I'm completely blind. With the SOAP APIs, I mean, it's all there. They cannot develop anything without providing that extensive documentation. And by using the same link, you will get access to everything. So SOAP is much easier. It's a bit dated. And the REST, on the other hand, it's right now it's like a standard industry standard. And the REST is it's open source. So you see, so this is a kind of huge movement from companies like, I don't know, Apple, Microsoft, from like, what's the word? From basically like closed environment, right? Because nobody will give you like access to the source code. Usually it's paid and so on, to like free software. So free internet, free software and all that. So REST is a free protocol. Right now, there is another one, which is we're not covering this at all. This is the image, actually. Very nice one. And it's called, basically, that was the question from here. Where was that image? Basically this one, right? So they're trying to bypass the backend, and it's called serverless architecture. So there is no such thing as like backend. Basically, front end, by utilizing special query language, can get access to the database. Of course, not directly. There is still some kind of sort of backend, but it's called serverless. And it's becoming more popular. I don't work with that in my company. Usually, like those tiny startups, they tend to pick up the bleeding edge technologies, and companies who's been on the market for some time. There is usually a delay, right? So they don't try to adopt the greatest and newest and greatest. Why? Because it's a lot of risks as well. If something works, just don't break it, right? In startups, they don't have much, so they can do whatever. They can use the latest technologies. But anyways, so for now, REST API is the sexiest technology out there. And probably if you went to market and reviewed some of the job descriptions, you would probably notice a lot of like REST APIs, Postman, and all that stuff. So that's why we teach REST API in particular. So does it make sense, guys, so far? Give me some feedback, please. Yay. Okay, if it doesn't, give me that too. I take it all. You can throw anything at me. I don't mind. In fact, I prefer negative feedback over the positive. I don't want things to be sugar coated. Anyways, yeah, when it comes to Amazon, I only read negative feedbacks and decide based on the negative feedback. Anyways, Cool. All right, let's keep going. So we have a very, very important topic today to cover, which is actual REST API practice. So let me navigate to, that was the basically all theory that I wanted to give you. I hope you guys enjoyed the theory block. So let's do practice now. So this is our application, right? And let me open my Postman as well. So I'm gonna use like all the power that I can today. In fact, I'm gonna do this. So on the left side, you will see my so could you guys remind me the on the coil API documentation link? This one. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so now what we see, so this is API, which is backend, and what we see in the browser is what? Okay, cool. Thank you, Helen. What we see on the right, what is that? It's a front end. Okay, let's see. Like again, let's try to find some something in common, right? So what do we see right now on the screen? It's basically this one, right? It's a login, like log a user. So, okay, I mean, everyone knows login, right? We do it like 50 times a day. Every single application these days requires login. Why? Oh, well, for that particular reason that I explained previously. So what do we have in here? We have not much, right? Username or email. We have password and login button to submit, right? Okay, on the left, I opened the authentication. So, well, it's not login, right? It's authentication. And also we have authorization. Authentication, well, I don't want to go too much into details. If you're curious about differences, feel free to watch my presentation from YouTube channel. It's called security testing for manual testers, something like that. Aha, right here. So this is my presentation. It will be, I hope you will enjoy it. It covers some basics of security testing, which is a special type that we only touched on the very first lesson, but never touched again. So this one will shed some light on how you can actually perform basic security testing, and you can actually add that to your resume as well. So sorry for the advertisement. It's for commercial time. So there is a difference, right? So it's not login, it's authentication for APIs. And what we see here, well, this is the endpoint, right? So what we see in here on the right hand, I'm sorry guys for making, you know, I know for some of you it's pretty late, but I'm pushing you, trying to make you think a little bit. Aha, exactly, Babatunde. It's page, right? Well, in this particular case, since we are not authorized, so the same for API. If we're not, if we like on the right side, if we're not logged in, even though it's kind of homepage here, right? It's still login page. The same thing for API. We need to authenticate first, otherwise we will not get access to anything here. And the trick here, it's a page on the right side, and it's basically called endpoint for API. So do you guys remember that regression exercise when you split basically the whole entire application? You decompose that, right? You go from like single application to workflows, from workflows to pages, from pages to what? What's the next? Yeah, mind mapping, exactly. It's one of the most critical concepts in computational thinking or programming. So decomposition. So what goes after page? How did you decompose the page? What was the next level? Elements, exactly. So page consists of elements. And what was the next level? Because elements is not enough for us, right? Who cares about elements? What do we care about? Okay. I can hear, guys, your brain is working. We are testers and we care about what? Testers, guys, testers. Testers, it's a clue. Testers. Okay, testing is very close. Defects, well, we're not talking about defects right now. We will definitely find some, but testers, test cases, exactly. So we go from page to elements, right? From elements to test cases. And it means what? That for every single element, most of the times we can come up with a few test cases. Sometimes it's only one, but I would say like if you have one element, probably you can come up with a minimum 2 test cases, minimum. For some of those things, you can come up with like 10 test cases right off the bat. And that's a very popular interview question. In particular, on the right side, you can see like login page. This is super popular interview question. Like, hey, write me test cases for login screen. And we only have 3 elements here, right? We can easily write like 10, 15, maybe even more test cases just for freaking login page. It's, Of course, negative. Oh, yeah, positive. I mean, positive is boring. it's simple. Negative, what makes us shine. So negative, we can come up with like dozens of test cases even for freaking login page. And if you can prove that on the interview, and I hope you can do so, you're golden. They will hire you. Okay, that's again, that's all some sorry guys, 1 second. Some topics, it's good, but it's very high level. Let's do the stuff. So let's draw another parallel here. So on the right side, we have email, right? Let me delete that. Email address. Guess what? On the left side, we have what? Email? How come? I would never guess, huh? Exactly, because this front end takes your information and sends that via API to backend. So for the most of the functionality of your website, there is a corresponding backend endpoint with parameters that match pretty much exactly, that match the front end almost perfectly. There is a gap though, and that's the not necessarily it, and not always it matches 100%. So for example, even in this case, so okay, I'm gonna enter like some email, right, like this, and I'm gonna enter some password. So what? I mean, nothing, right? We need to send it, and for that we have a special button to send the form. Here, where's the button element? It's missing, huh? Yeah, API doesn't require kind of submit or send or whatever button. So there is a differences. You can see it even here. These are similar things, but there is a difference right there. But anyways, let's actually start testing it. So I'm just gonna do a test plan real quick. And this is how I usually do. Well, sometimes I forced to write a formal like 100 pages test plan. Nobody likes that. I mean, whatever, they pay money, I do the job, right? If they want me to write test plan, I'll do that. No issues there. But for myself, just I don't want to forget anything. So let's write a test plan for UI first, or front end, or I'm gonna do UI. So what will be your first test case for login page? Just give me a name or just an idea. It's a test plan, so I'm not asking to kind of provide me the whole test case with like all the structure and everything. Just an idea. Okay, valid username, nice. So user logs in, right? I'm gonna keep it short and simple. It's what kind of and why I'm using this one? Why I don't want to break it from the beginning? What kind of test is this? Okay, happy path. No, yeah, I like that. Yeah, happy path positive testing first, of course, what your application should do. And this is super critical test case. If this one doesn't work, your application is useless, like completely just a trash, right? I cannot do anything. So this is super critical P0 priority, like highest critical priority possible, right? So of course we start with that. And then we go to negative testing, right? So give me some example, or maybe if you recall, like what were the test cases that you wrote for login page? Where's my, what happened? Okay. Okay, I can only see one so far. Okay. 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 Okay, good. So now if we remember decomposition principle, right? So I would recommend you to start with the field number 1 here and write the test cases just to keep it simple, right? So user logs in means automatically it is not just it's valid, syntax is valid for the email, right? But it's actually existing user. And it's not blocked. I mean, user can be existing, but it can be blocked, let's say, right? Or something like that. No, it's legitimate user that can just log into the system. So just keep going with the username. So I'm seeing some examples here. So if you ask me, number 2 test case here would be, what if it's like non-existing user, right? So first one, of course, assuming that it's like existing and valid user, right? So the second one is like non-existing user, right? Third one, what was that? Yeah, like a syntax. We can check the syntax, for example, right? So there was like one test case that you guys sent to me, like without at, and we can come up with quite a few, because email, if you remember, I believe, do you guys remember email requirements? So you can just go to email requirements. What is this? Wikipedia, email address. Yeah, if you've never seen this, let me show you. So these are the standards for email address. And you see there is a syntax, local part, domain. So local part is this thing in front, like coil user 1. Domain is like this TestPro, right? And then IO and all that stuff. So, but la 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 la. Okay, so these are requirements. Let's see, local part, unquoted, uppercase and lowercase Latin letters A to Z and A to Z. So technically speaking, we can have a test case with because this one is all lowercase. We never tested uppercase, huh? We can do like, I don't know. What if it's like user? It's a positive test case though, right? So we should create that user, but it should be like coil with the uppercase, or it could be the same, but we should be logged in, right? Because according to this, it's A to Z. But then you see it's Latin. We're like, okay. What if it's not Latin? What if it's like, I don't know, some other Japanese? So that's another test case right there, just by reading this. And it's only one line, right? Look how much more we have in here. So digits, right, from 0 to 9. Okay, we do have digits. Okay, good. So we tested that. Printable characters, watch this. It has to be actually acceptable, all of these characters. Well, these are not special characters. For example, double quotation, you see it's not here. So double quotation is not allowed. And it's actually, I believe, stated here. But like single quotation is allowed. We can actually create a user like this. And by standard, it should be okay. So, and basically, look, this is one test case to check this character, another one to this, and like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 test cases just here. Huh? Interesting, huh? Dot 20 is not first or last character. Okay, dot in the beginning is incorrect, 21. Dot in the end here is incorrect, 22. Funny, huh? Does not appear oh my goodness, I can't even spell it, but you basically, you cannot have two dots, 23. And we're only here. We have this much to go, guys. Nice, huh? 23 test cases, just it's just the local part. It's local part, it's just this thing here. You see? And then what was, okay, maximum length, you see, of the local part, guys, local part, not like the whole thing. Boundary just for this part, 64 octets. Well, we would need to Google what it is, but there is definitely a limitation, right? for this part. Just for this, not for the whole thing yet. We're not even talking about that. So it's like what, 24 test cases already? So some special wildcard recognition. So it could be 25. Following plus, which is 26. Less often characters following minus 27. You see, like Gmail does that, for example. La la, and then following a minus might end up in the same inbox. Okay. Braces as well. So it's like some more test cases, space and special characters. Well, space actually allowed. We never seen that anywhere here before. So it's 20, whatever, 8. Right. And then you see this is limited availability. So you see these characters are not in this list. So these ones should be allowed without any restrictions. These ones, however, are allowed with restrictions inside a quoted string. So it's like 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Okay, 40 test cases. And we're only looking at this thing. We have like whole this thing and password as well. We're already looking at 40 test cases, right? So, okay, I don't want to continue, but you get the idea, right? Does it make sense, guys? So if you need some inspiration, here you go. You will blow their mind with the knowledge if they ask you about like email. I bet you they never heard anything like this. Not a single person in the whole entire world said that to them. I mean, I'm 100% confident because nobody knows that stuff. Okay, anyways, so this is about like how many test cases you can come up with. Of course, in reality, and this is just this thing, where there was a question like, hold on, do we need to create all of those? I mean, of course not. I mean, don't be a maniac, right? you will never cover it all. Cover the most important things, plus your application will probably have their own limitations. So even though the email address, it's an international standard, you see like 9080 Internet Engineering Task Force, RFC, blah, 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 blah. It's like international standard, 40 years old, and so on. Your application may actually be limited. So even though it says like 64 characters here, your application requirements, and they will give them to you. They can say like, okay, email cannot be longer than, I don't know, 64 characters. Even though it's technically okay to have like long email, but like show me that person who has like 200 characters in the email, right? It's kind of weird, right? Nothing wrong with that. So, but anyways, your application can have its own limitations on that. So you will follow like whatever they say in the requirements. And this is nothing other requirements. You will get the story as you would always get. It will be like in Jira, please implement endpoint. It will be like backend type of story. Please implement the backend so it accepts like username and password and allows user to like successfully logged in. It should email should be Latin letters from A to Z, upper and lower case. Digits should be allowed. Special characters like this should be allowed. Like dots, la 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 should be allowed. Like something else, maximum like 64 characters. If like something is wrong, these are the error messages that should be displayed to the user on a UI, and the same for API these are the error messages should be sent back as a response. So it will be pretty much like this paragraph. Um, nothing special about that. You just take basically and go one by one, the same that I did. Just carefully read the line of text and figure out my test cases, right? Make sense, guys? Yes, usually it's provided. So these things, it will be literally like this part in Jira, and developer will develop based on this, and you will test based on the same. And you see, it's like 40 test cases just here. No. Yeah, all right, or here, 40 test cases plus here. Piece of cake, right? Well, the best part here that I like the most is that you don't have to come up with all of those. Once you get a story, I mean, it's no brainer. Most of the things are there. You don't even need to think. Oh, okay. You need to think. They pay us because we're smart, right? They pay us good money because we're smart. We can think and we can deliver the result. But there is a little trick with the stories. Okay, cool. So, well, the same thing here. So I don't want to write everything, like all of them down to my plan, but non-existing user without a, like boundary, like too long, right? 5, too short, like whatever it means. 6, like empty email, right? It's valid. It's legitimate test case. Why not? I mean, of course you can like add like quite a few more, as we agreed, right? But let's keep it short. So these are the test cases, the most important test cases on UI to validate. So let's see about the API now. So what will be the API test case? Yeah, user authenticates, right? I mean, I can copy and paste that, right? What's the second test case for API? That's way too complicated, guys, right? For the most part, you don't even need to think about those test cases. Those are gonna be pretty much the same. Well, there is some differences, right? So for UI one, you would need to type navigate to page. So basically, your precondition: user navigates, logged out user navigates to like home page. You enter email, which is test data. You enter password. Of course, that account already created, right? It's not like some random account. It's created upfront account. And then you click login, right? So 3 steps. When you click login, sorry. When you click login, what's going to happen? Okay, it's incorrect password probably, or something. Hold on, let me figure out which one it's going to be. It seems like I'm running out of credentials here. Well, you guys will help me, right? So, but basically, yeah, exactly. So when you do all of that, you should be logged in, whatever, right? And there was a test case. If you returning user, you may have some like something like this, I believe, what was that, like blah blah blah, like I don't know, artist or something on this page. If you do it like this, you will be navigated to this page, right? So it actually remembers the last visited page. which could be your, I mean, could be a part of your test case as well. Right? So on the other hand, here on the left, what we see, precondition. I mean, no precondition. You don't need to navigate anywhere, right? There is no such thing as page. There is an endpoint, which is this guy, but this is not the page. You don't have to like navigate anywhere. So no precondition. Of course, user has to be existing. It's the same user, basically. You can use the same user, right? And then your steps. When you send the request to this endpoint with the method post with the parameters email, which is, you see it's required. So you provide the email, the same data, and password, which is valid password. In Postman, you send that, right? So there is no login button, but it just executes the call, send the call. Then your expected result will be it's the same concept, right? So you interact with the system, you input something, you get the output, and you can validate the output. Okay, status 200. Okay, good. Code, always check the response code, of course. And what else? What is super important here? Super important. How do you know API is logged in? Is there a such thing, API logged in? Yeah. Yes, exactly. So you have to receive a token, which is actually kind of, you see, there is a clue right here. A random token will be returned. So if your status code is 200 and token is returned, you will authorize, right? So those two are your expected results. Hopefully they match with actual. Here, you just can see, so you're no longer on this page, you are on some other page within the application. Similar concept, a little bit different implementation, right? But very, very similar. So what about the second one? Non-existing user, let's say. So what would you do? So here, non-existing user, let me figure out some non-existing users. So this one probably is non-existing. I'm sending it here. So what's my expected result? No, for UI part. No, guys, UI, not API, mixing the things. Non-existing email or non-existing user. Okay, cool. Red frame, and yeah, so this error message, let me maybe refresh this. So this, you see how it is right now? So if I add some trash in here and log in, you see it's there is a like error, a red border around the well, there's no such any message really, but there was a animation, and this now it has a red border around. So this is my expected result. There is a like animation and red border around. No error, no actual like error message shown. However, if I miss like syntax is wrong like this, you see, now my expected result, I should see this error message, which is please include and blah, blah, blah. And the mail address is missing in that. So this is the actual expected result, right? Good. So if we do the same here, our expected result would be something. Status 401. Will it be 401? We will check that, right? So let's go to Postman and go to coil and then go to test. So how would we do that? We just create a folder, call it like pretty much you can just call it the same authentication folder, and we will put all the test cases in there, right? So I already have some test cases. Let's see if they work. They don't. Hold on. Okay, let's try this. Okay, that one didn't work. Maybe something wrong with the password. Let's try another one. Okay, this one didn't work too. Okay, can you guys give me a password and a valid username and password, please? Gonna do a crazy thing. I will call it after you guys because I already have 4 folders, which is I know it's wrong, but just want to show that to you from scratch. Authentication, and then we just create test cases. Like successful authentication, right? What was the other one? Non-existing user. I'm not gonna do that right now. So, okay, how do we do this? Where's my browser? Here, right here. So we need to do post, and this is the endpoint, right? And these are the parameters. So we're just doing what it says. So this one needs to be post. This one, since I already have base URL, I hope so. Do I? Let me check. Oh, it's env. Okay. env. Okay. Done. And then body. It should be, what is this? Form data, I believe, right? Email and password. So first one is email, which is basically this one, right? And this one is password, and email is what's the username, guys? I can copy it from there. That's weird. Okay. Test. Env is environment. It's basically, you see, it's coil, HTTP, blah blah blah. You can just copy it from here. So this is what it is. Just instead of like having it like this, I'm gonna keep it as the environment, as a variable. Why? Because now I can, you see, I can switch environment. So I can switch from prod to QA to like whatever, any other environments. Which is kind of nice, right? And it's configured here basically. Right here, you see environment. Okay. So QWERTY and 2305 and gmail.com, some testing account. So that's well, this is not a test case, guys. This is just a request, and well, it didn't work. 2, 3. Okay, I forgot this. Still doing what? 2320-530 @gmail.com. Something is wrong with that. Like this, right? Okay. So what's the, let me try to figure this out. I know there was a recent change. Gotcha. 2320. Sorry, guys. It's been a while since I touched. Well, 3, 2, at, I believe. Okay, now it's becoming annoying. Let's try this. Okay, finally. Okay, thank you, Katerina. So we finally figured the, the credentials part. Okay, good. So, hold on, but that's not the test case that we're messing with. Should be this one. That was wrong folder, sorry. Okay, we got it. Yay, finally. Well, okay, this one, as you can see, it's not a test. It's just a response and request. The good thing, you can, a lot of times you can just capture, you can reverse engineer. So if you open the console, you can reverse engineer the call here. Network, and if you send this, okay, it should be correct. If you send this, you see, boom. So this is your call. This is your URL. This is the endpoint. This is method. This is status code, and some other stuff, and even like the parameters. You see, request payload. So it's all here. You can basically just capture that from the browser and reconstruct in Postman. There is even better way. You can actually record that. So there is, you see, capture request and cookies with Postman. You can start it and just use browser. Postman will capture them and will store them in the requests. The only step left is to actually turn that request into a test case, because this is not a test case. So in order for you to do that, you need to go to here to tests, right? And then use the snippets on the right side, which are very handy. So what do we have in there? So get environment variable, la 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 la. Status code is 200, right? Like this, because we know it should be 200. So we send in one more time. Okay, now it's a test case. You see test green, test results passed. So we can mess a little bit just to make sure it's we're testing the test, just to make sure, you know, it can fail. When it's time, it will fail. Okay, so now it says, okay, it's 200, but it's supposed to be 100. Okay, so now it's failed, which is, of course, I broke it on purpose. Cool. And the other one is token, right? So this is first expected result, and the second one, we can just use another snippet right there. Response body contains string like this. It's super simple. String you want to search. Of course, we want to search for what? What are we putting there, guys? Oh, can you zoom it? Sorry, guys. Can I? I don't even know if I can. Control plus. Okay, I can. Yeah, so the right answer is token. So basically we say, because the token itself is dynamic, right? It's gonna be different. So every time you send this, you see token here. Every time you send it, it's gonna be different token. So we cannot really rely on this part, it's dynamic. We can rely on this. So as long as we get token back, we're good, right? So now test results, body matches string. So if we do a token 2, okay, there is no token 2 in here, which is failed, which is good. So this is a test case. How do we know what kind of snippet to use? Okay, that's a good one. I mean, most of the times it's the same snippets. We validate the code, which is like almost always is your first expected result for your test. And the other one, you validate the body, like the error message, the page content, token, or whatsoever. Sometimes, of course, you can validate the whole, like JSON, let's say. Well, that one is a little bit more tricky, so I don't want to even give that to you, because if you would need to do that, you will figure this out. So there is a plenty of documentation and all kind of all that stuff. For interview, it's going to be overkill, right? So, but this is like the most typical test case in Postman. Now, we need to write the second test case. How are we going to do that? Non-existing user. How are we going to do that? You guys know how we can create a second test case in Postman? It's non-existing user, not empty field. It's a piece of cake, guys. It's 1 second. I mean, Postman is so simple. You just copy your initial call. Now, let me get rid of this because even I'm getting frustrated now. So you just take this one and duplicate. You go here to the name and you give it like, what is this? The test case name. What was that? I already forgot. Non-existing user. Okay. Non-existing user. Done. Do I need to change anything else? Of course. So this is existing user. We know that. So let's just do non-existing. I know this is for sure doesn't exist, right? I mean, if you think it may exist, you can just add some gibberish stuff in the end. So this user for sure doesn't exist. So well, from the test data perspective, this is the only thing that needs to be changed. Because again, remember, we have title for its regular test case. We have title, we have test data, which is type, which is endpoint, which is this email and password. So only this thing needs to be changed. And then these are the steps basically, right? Sorry, step is the same, just send a request. Data is different, which is even easier. And we have expected and actual result. So expected result, we need to change that for sure, right? Because if we do it like this, we will get what? First of all, you see status 401 unauthorized. So obviously we need to go here and change, because right now both failed, of course, because we just copied. So if I do 401 now and send it one more time, okay, this one is passing now, this one is failing. Why? Of course, because we're getting some empty page, right? Some HTML back. It's not even like the API call. It's just HTML. It's a page. So we can say, okay, in that case, since there is no error message, like actual error message, it's some sort of HTML. We can even say like, actually, hold on, let me see. Looks like something went wrong. Okay, you see, invalid credentials. This is the error message. So I'm going to search for that instead of token. So if it's 401 and somewhere here we find invalid credentials, like we see it in here. So if you click preview, you will see the actual rendered page, which is nicer than like this view, right? Which is like a lot of text, not user friendly. It's computer friendly, not human friendly. So if we do it like this and run it one more time, boom, shakalaka, another test case passed. How are we going to write the third one? Piece of cake, right? Duplicate, and we say like without at, like this, right? And what we're going to do, we're just going to go back here and change that back. We will grab the same email, put it in here, and then we will get rid of this thing. Of course, if I run it, it will probably fail. Well, okay, that's interesting. Now, status is 200 in this case. So in our test, we need to go here and change it back to 200. And then, well, the test result expected to be 401. Yeah. So based on, and this is API bug, right? I agree with you. It's well, it should be invalid request probably, but let's actually see what it does. Yeah, it might sound funny, but coil requires Java, blah blah blah. Yeah, some weird stuff. So this is a bug that you would log and say like, hey, it should return this, and that. Especially if you have requirements, it will state like clearly. So if something is wrong with password, then user should see some, sorry, not user, response error message should be blah, 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 right? So we will just put it in here. You will go ahead and create a bug, and you will basically, your bug will be like incorrect status code on like this call, and you will add the data, like when like user submits, sends API call to this endpoint with post method and the body like that with missing @ sign, then the response code is 200, but it should be 401, let's say, right? And the error message should be blah, 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 and not, it may sound funny, let's say, right? But for now, assuming that it's valid test case, there is no bug, I can just go here and just copy, let's say, pretending it's an error message. All right, something like this. So if I run it here, that's it, passed another one. And you just keep duplicating basically, because all of these test cases are very, very similar. Okay, there is the most important topic of the day. Are you guys ready for that? Do you guys have any questions for this? Is it clear? Does it make sense? Tell me something. Okay, now it's more clear. Yeah, and to run this, it's actually quite simple. So you click runner. So again, it's technically, it will take you like seconds to write this test cases. It's so simple, it's even easier than freaking UI test cases. Seriously, I'm not kidding. And these guys are getting paid even bigger money. It depends. I'm not sure if you're going to be doing the API testing or not. But if you have that on your resume, even though you're not required to do so, which is QA analysts mostly not required to do that, you can ask for higher compensation anyways. Like, so, I mean, why not, right? And then if you are going to be like QA engineer, but these days I think it's becoming more popular for even for manual QAs to know that stuff and to be able to, you know, write test cases, run them, report the results, and update. If something changed, you go and change your test cases accordingly. So you click, you just need to select what you want to run in here, which is not this, but what was the test cases authentication? That's, hold on, that's not where we are. It should be tests. No, it's tests. Okay. B17. So you just select the whole thing. So these are all the test cases. Environment. Mine environment is, I think it says prod or no environment. And then you just run, and then boom, boom, boom. You see? Easy breezy. 258 milliseconds to run the test. So it's 200 milliseconds each. So writing the test case, it takes what? I mean, these are simple test cases, right? But this is enough to know in order to pass the interview. Because once you get the job, they will show you like overwhelming documentation. It will take you a year to like write 5,000 test cases and so on. So you will have time. Right now, the goal is to get the understanding and the bare minimum in order to pass the interview, right, and get the job. Once you got the job, I mean, you will start working. Nobody will be expecting from you for like a month or so. So you will take your time, figure out the stuff. And I mean, but it's going to be the same. Exactly the same what we did today. Nothing different. But running, you see the difference. Why it is so cool. Writing text takes seconds, most of the times. Executing takes like milliseconds. So if you open Zephyr and open your UI test cases, and first of all, you would need to read them. It will take you like a minute, right, to read the test case. And then you would need to execute, like navigate to page, enter like email, password, blah, 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 validate expected result, la, la. So one test case like this, even like simple as this, would take you like a minute or so. And this one is 200 milliseconds. And then you would actually need to spend your time. And here is 2 clicks of the button, boom, done. 6 test cases passed, 0 failed, good. You're good to go. Right? You can like do it like this. You can do it like this. You can export results and all that stuff, which is quite cool, right? So this is, and it's automation, guys. This is Postman is automation tool. So you're doing like semi-automated test right now. It doesn't require you like much, even though it has JavaScript. And you can like mess with the JavaScript, but you gotta know JavaScript in that case. For writing this test cases, you don't even need to know JavaScript, which is a beauty. But you can start working on those, and you can pass the interview and get higher compensation. Oops, I closed the window. So this is how you write. This is how you run, and this is how you assign. In Zephyr, if you remember regression or smoke, you would write those test cases. Similar way, you would create a test cycle. You would assign those test cases. That's what we did exactly here. And then you would run them manually and report the results. And here it's all automatic. So how do you like that? Which one do you like better, guys? UI or API now? Yeah, I expect you to say API. And well, they pay better for API, so like, I mean, it's no brainer, right? It's faster, it's easier, it's more fun, and even pay better. Hey, give me two. Right, I'll take two. So what else? How to test playing song. Okay, that one is gonna be a little bit more trickier probably. Um, so I don't know. When you would need to figure something out. I know you can do that through Postman. You would just need to figure out expected result. So the rest is a piece of cake. Expected result, a little bit more complicated. I'm not sure how exactly, but you would probably Google, um, I don't know, like Postman, how to test audio stream, something like that. Something like this. La 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 la. Just server. You can also ask developers. They usually know the stuff as well. So no buffer, la la la. I don't know. Okay, doesn't tell much. But you will probably Google that fairly quickly. What questions they ask about API knowledge on interview? Like tell me about basically the basics of API. How do you perform the testing? Where do you get expected results? What is the status code 401? What's the difference between get and post? What else? I want to say that's, I mean, of course, there is a little bit more attached to it, but if you can answer just those questions, it's usually enough. And the rest you can Google. The endpoint provided documentation for play song doesn't work. I did that like some time ago. It worked, but I cannot promise. I mean, it's a project under development. Documentation is changing. They have even issues with the documentation itself. Some of I believe one of the endpoints is actually not existing. Remember which one, like something related to data, I believe, like this one, I believe, is actually something like this, or maybe user management. One of them, yeah, doesn't work. Well, okay, here's the thing. So again, how you can do that, and I already showed that to you, right? So this is the application. This is the how you can actually reproduce that. You can just, I'm just gonna go here, paste that in here, log in, and since my network tab is open, how I can do that? I can just click play. So, okay, it's playing. I don't want to listen to that, but this is your call. So this is all that you need to do in order for song to play. So we can actually even compare that. API song ID play. So this is API. So this is song ID. This is play. Okay, it has a JVT token attached. And this JVT token is basically exactly what you have when you exactly what you get back, right? So which is body, this guy. So this is JVT token. And if you don't believe me, you can go to documentation and it's actually, you see, uses JVT token for authentication. It's a special type, JSON web token. There is a different, there are different versions of different tokens. Blah blah blah. I'm not developer. I don't care really. Whatever it's called, you see, like there is a lot of things, but don't worry about that too much. It's not important. GVT or not GVT, who cares? some token, right? Some token. Well, this call actually has that token. It's a get, and you see status code is 206. That's it. That's probably could be enough for you really to check. Not 200, but 206, very special. Yeah, that's it. And if it's like something else, then probably it's not working. And query string parameters GVT token is actually here. So you can reverse engineer and do the same in Postman. It will probably take you 1 minute to figure this out. So it shouldn't be too bad. So, okay, the most important topic, guys. I know a lot of students got job just because of knowing that. So let me show you. Let me go back actually and log out one more time. And this is very, very nice. Even if you don't like find bugs in the application or something, just show them your thought process, and that's a brilliant. So so let's say here, you see, so if I log in now with the incorrect, this user is incorrect, right? Probably it's non-existing user. So what happens? You see, it's 401, and the error message is there is an error message, right? This one, invalid credentials. This is the error message that we did, right? And this is basically back end test case and front end. So we did both. So this is the front end test case. We executed the front end test case, which is this one, right? Nothing but this one. And at the same time, application automatically executed this one for API. You can see it here. So we kind of, because they integrated, front end sends information to back end, right? So with one shot, we did both, kind of, right? We can see them both. Okay, now the trick here. So if you don't have @ here, and if you log in like this, guys, why I don't see anything here? So what if I do this? I do see it here, right? And this is my exactly data, and this is not. Yeah, sorry guys, my dog is going crazy. I'm not supposed to do this class. And she's pissed about that. So guys, why? So why is that, guys? Why I don't see anything? But I do see this error message, but I don't see it in here. Why? Who can tell me? Okay, because nothing was sent to backend. Okay, like that. Why? Why, guys? Why nothing was sent to backend? And I'm gonna give you a clue. It's a topic that I started this lesson with. Okay, good, Sergey, perfect. Because when I click login button, this is error message. It's not the backend error message. This is front end validation. That's how we call it. Front end validation. Why? Front end, again, it's different application. Front end doesn't even want to ask backend. It knows exactly that it's wrong, even without checking. Right? It's like you're getting into bar, and there is a guy, like huge guy, right, standing over there. And I mean, you don't even have to try, right? Why? Because by the law, they have to check your ID. And if you don't have an ID, I mean, you don't even bother, right? You go back home and pick it up. There is a very, very little chance that the guy forget to check your ID. Well, at least in Los Angeles, it's very strict. They always ask. I don't remember a single case when they don't ask. Basically, that's the thing. Front end is smart enough to, by just seeing that email is wrong, right? There is no @ sign. It doesn't even bother to ask the backend. So and that's the difference. So from a front end perspective, this is the test case and this is the error message. You will never see this error message in the backend because it doesn't exist. It will not prevent you sending that though, because in a Postman, you can send anything to backend. It really doesn't matter. And backend should basically respond gracefully and should decline, your offer to log in. It should say the error message is going to be different. And it's, I believe, what we did here without @ you see? So this one. So you will see this. However, you will never see this error message from the front end. Why? Because front end will never send a call like that to the backend. Right? That's not a browser, that's a front end. It's your application that does it. And that's, again, that's a difference between front end and back end. So even though from front end, some of the cases are not kind of realistic, like this, right? It's front end validation, and it's legitimate test case, and it's way different. If you do the same on the back end like this, it's actually different test case. It's only applicable to back end, this one. And from front end perspective, this test case is only applicable to front end. And the expected result is way different because in this case, they're not even connected. Front end will block your call and will never even ask that. And backend will throw you some weird thing back, and even with status OK, which is bug, right? Okay. So remember, front-end validation, back-end validation. This is how you can show them, like, if I do it this, okay, I can see this error message. However, I don't see any calls to the backend, meaning that this is front-end validation. Got it? And they will be like, dude, that's impressive. You are the first person who told me that. And then plus you figured how to test email. I mean, it's no brainer, right? Okay, time for questions, guys. Any? Please clarify the URI in env. So in Postman, you should actually have a video for that. In Postman, you can declare this environment variables. So the beauty of this, so if you have production or QA or whatever, this first part, base URL, is different. So you don't want to rewrite all the test cases, because if you have it like HTTP coil here, you would need to go and update every single test case if you want to test against QA or dev or prod or whatever. So what you can do, you go to environment variables, and basically this is how you do it. You see variable, this is a name, which is exactly this, but you would need to do a double braces, figure braces around, and it actually shows you the actual value. So, and here, you just go here and you say for production. So right now it's production environment, right? So it's set to this. You can go change it to like QA environment. Well, it's the same for me. It's kind of messed up. but it would be something like QA coil app, like testpro.io. So without rewriting anything, you can just, you see if I change it to QA, it became, okay, it's incorrect. Because it doesn't match, so it should be like base env. So now it's a little bit tricky. Because I actually have two projects, guys. So sorry for confusion. I have a few projects in here, and these variables they get messed up. So you see, it's like not even, shouldn't even show that to you. It's not even coil, so that's why. But by switching this, it will change here. What was that? Yeah, it was prod. Okay, prod. So you can create a new one and call it like test or stage or whatever, like this. You see, these are environments. So I can just create, can just copy, so I can create a new one, which is add, and then call it, I don't know, stage, for example. And then it will be the same variable name, but this one will be HTTPS, say stage coil.net, for example, like this. And then now, since this one is set to prod, if you mouse over, it's coil app test-pro-io. If I change that to stage, if I mouse over, you see it's stage coil not. Why it's not? Messed up something probably. Yeah. Net. I wanted to say net, right? So now you can change the environment by just clicking this dropdown, selecting the right one, and running all your tests against any environment in one click. Now, make sense? Can check API non-existing user using UI. So it means that we can check non-existing user. Oh, yeah. No, right, Anita. Yeah, no, you're right. From UI standpoint, yeah, we cannot even check that endpoint. So that's why we need to do both. That's why it's better to do both, because in this case, we cover both. So from Postman, we still can force and send that call, make sure the backend replies nicely and all that. From front-end standpoint, if we do it like this is front-end validation. So technically, even though it's the same test case, it's not. It's actually two completely different test cases for two completely different applications. For front-end, it's front-end validation. For backend, it's backend validation. So our coverage is actually much better. You see, together we're stronger. So there are differences between front end and back end. For the most times, it's the same kind of, but there are gaps. And hackers will actually use those gaps and then will send wrong requests to backend, even though you cannot kind of reproduce them. They will figure this out, and that's how they hack the systems. They identify those gaps, and you see there is a bug right there. Why the bug? Well, because it's a gap. And if there is a gap, there is a lot of strange things can go wrong, and hackers actually do that. So they will identify those gaps and try to break into your application. So hope it makes sense. And that's why, again, it's so important. Okay, base URL, good, yes. Why we need to change environment? To be able not to change every single test case, because imagine you have 3,000 test cases and your manager says like, hey, could you please real quick run your test cases against stage environment? And you're like, sure. But you would need to go to every single test case and change this to like HTTP stage like oil.net, let's say. And then another one and another will take you like 3 days. And it's a stupid work. In this case, because it's environment, you just go here, you just select another one, boom. In 1 second, you can run again stage, the same set of test cases, right? Test cases are exactly the same. As long as you have this user in every single environment, which I would recommend you to create the same email across the environments, otherwise it will not work, right? Okay, what else? So there is a question about automation, guys. I'm not sure about the price, but I would recommend you to ask in the chat on our website. They will tell you like when it starts, what's the price. I believe it's under $2,000 and it's 3 months. They probably have special deal or something going on because it's like early bird. We usually run these early bird things, but I don't know any details. So yeah, sorry. That's the best I can answer. What else? This one is done. This one is done. How should I know how snippet to use for play a song? Can you explain more about snippets? We actually covered that. You can just use 206 response code, right? If you send the right request and your response code is 206. To be honest with you, I don't even know what 206 means. 206 response code. Oh yeah, exactly. It's partial content. So basically, it exactly says that when you get 206, it's a partial content, which is a stream, which is music, basically. So you don't even need to do anything else. You just validate the response code 206, done, easy peasy. Right? Otherwise, you will never see 206. It's like very special response. Of course, again, HTTP response codes. I mean, there is like billion of them. If you ask me, I only remember, I don't know, 10 of them or so. It's like a whole lot. And you see like even different browsers don't support them all, or like starting from different versions. It's like such a mess. I wouldn't even remember like all of them. You probably want to know like the most important, like 5 to 10, like 401, 403, 402, 501, 502, something like that. But like 451, I mean, I've never seen that one, to be honest with you. If I see, I will Google that, and you can just go there, and it says like whys and like a lot of things here. Specification, you can go there and read specification. It's boring as hell. Whatever. Right? Just do 206, that's it. Hope I answer your question. Yeah, exactly. Where Oleg took snippets. Hey, hold on, I'm not Oleg, right? I'm Dennis. Hello, guys. It's Dennis, and we're starting this class. It's right here, guys. So once you click tests, you see on the right hand side, it's right here. Test scripts are written in JavaScript and are run after the response is received. And these are the snippets. You just click one of them, and I used the two, which is like, you can even, I mean, there is a set of predefined response codes. If you need to do like something crazy, you can just Google your particular. Sorry, guys. Yeah, you can just. Sorry, Anastasia. No offense. I'm just joking around. You can just go like Postman snippet for like whatever. I recently used like regex, for example. You probably don't even know what is that, but that's how you Google it. That's it. Like this. Test script match string with regex, and then blah blah blah. These are the snippets. You see people provide some crazy custom snippets that you can just literally, well, you need to know what are you doing this for. You're just copying and pasting it, boom, done, right? So a lot of documentation online. You can just Google for that. You see Postman cheat sheet here. You can like read some stuff, XML, HTML. You can parse HTML. I didn't even know that, but obviously it has like a lot of things. Makes sense. Hold on, who was that? Yeah, Anastasia, makes sense. Okay, cool. Anita, do we have API path, UI path, mobile path, and automation course, or just UI path? Okay, so UI path, probably you mean XPath. So this is the, it's a special query language to select certain elements on the page in XML. HTML is a special type of XML because you see XPath is for XML document. How come you can use it for pages? Because page is HTML, not XML. Well, HTML is XML. So that's why you can use it. Yes, I believe automation covers both XPath and another one is CSS selector, this one. And those are completely two different things. Just to give you a brief idea, XPath, it's XML, it's more like a backend technique. Front-end developers usually don't even know that. And CSS is definitely front-end technique. It's completely different idea, even though they're very, very similar. Idea is completely different, but the same reason. You need to find an element. As a humans, we look at the page, we identify the element, and we like click on it, interact with that, right? For computer, it doesn't have eyes. You need to provide some certain address of that element, so computer can interact with that element. And these are two techniques. And mobile, for mobile, they use similar. XPath actually works for mobile, but and IDs work for mobile. So it's pretty similar, but they have their own stuff related basically to, because again, mobile, it's a front end, right? Don't forget that. So it's a front end. It's not like back end. So the actual mobile app, it's just different front end. For web, it's HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. For iOS, it's not HTML, right? Front end is completely different. It's a different language, different framework, which is who knows, guys, what's the language used for iOS development? Anyone? Okay, Xcode. Xcode is an application. It's a like set of tools that includes the programming language and everything you can only imagine, emulators. Okay, Swift, good. Yes, it used to be Objective-C, now it's Swift, good. And it's a language developed by by Apple, basically. So who knows what's the language is used for Android applications? Okay, good. Technically speaking, it's Java, but in reality, it's usually Kotlin, which is still kind of Java. It compiles to Java code anyways, but it's a little bit kind of easier and nicer than Java. Java is like very, very like strict. It's heavy lifting. It's like serious programming language, not for kids. Just joking. Kotlin is like a little bit more simplified, easier to deal with, and faster to write the applications. So it's more modern and like all has all the bells and whistles. And Java is like it's a hardcore. So yeah, exactly. But well, you can actually see the difference. Like front end for Android application written in Java. Like what? Yes. In fact, in Java, you can create desktop applications. For example, um, well, you probably have seen or used Charles Proxy. It's basically front end for desktop, which is written in Java as well. Java is very powerful. And another one is JMeter. It's absolute standard in performance testing, and it's written in Java. Again, it's desktop that works on Linux, Mac, and Windows, doesn't matter. So, and it's written in Java. So when the actual Windows applications are written in C++ or C Sharp. Well, JSON is not Java, guys. It's a JavaScript. It's native format for JavaScript. It's JavaScript object notation. Let's see, JavaScript object notation. I don't want to go too much into details, but I mean, JavaScript is very simple. It has a lot of good things, but it's simplified. And JSON it's good and bad. But anyways. If play song test doesn't pass with 2.6 code, is it a bug? Of course, if you get like you do everything right and you get I don't know 200, then probably it's a bug. You should report it. But by just using the UI, the page itself, you could see it's 206. So probably something is wrong that you're doing. But I would just start one by one. Just figuring out like, okay, doesn't match like URL. Okay, there is a token attached. Okay, attach that token. You can just copy it and paste in Postman. Then you can like go with like what was basically just check one by one. Like there was some GBT token. There was in the payload. There was something else. Just do one by one and make sure it just works. But with API, it's a little bit tricky because with UI, you see the stuff and you can like check the network tab and all that. With API, you're blind. And that's a bad thing. And I don't like that personally as well. But I mean, there is nothing we can do. Sometimes we need to struggle a little bit while figuring out. Take it as a challenge, right? As a riddle that you need to find the answer for. And have fun. I mean, seriously. I mean, I enjoy the challenges. I'm actually like demanding them every day. I'm like, give me something interesting, give me something new. I want the challenge, give me that. It always gives me a lot of challenges. Would you hire me to do API testing knowing that I had 1-2 hours API practice class? It's not about practice class, guys. I know a lot of manual engineers who doesn't give anything about API. They don't even want to do anything. It doesn't matter. As long as you're willing to learn, as long as you're willing to do that, I'm fine with that. And well, in reality, there is not much really to know about API. I would say this is all you need to know, really. Just a little bit, just check the interview questions and answers, and that's it. I don't even, for the most interviews that I had, they don't even ask more, even though I'm a like senior as that. Of course, if you want to, there are like tons of like hundreds and thousands of books. You can spend your whole entire life learning APIs and you will never learn them 100%. It's just not possible. So I gave up on that long time ago. I don't care. I don't want to know like everything. Why would I? Am I crazy? Like, what's wrong with me? No, I only know what I need to know. And the rest I will Google if needed. And that's it. I want to keep a room in my head for something, more, for something better than that. But no, definitely developers know much more. There are like people who does like doctor degrees and all that stuff. Like, I mean, good for them. Right? That's not my job, so I wouldn't bother. What else? Do bank applications still use SOAP? It's more secure. Yes, it's a little bit more secure, and they probably built that long time ago, so and it works, right? Why would they rebuild everything, spending millions of dollars for the REST API solution that does exactly the same, but you would need to spend 3 years and hire hundreds of developers, backend developers who wants to make like $2,000 and more per year, spending like millions and millions of dollars, like for what? What's the purpose? Just because, like, what? I mean, it's just stupid. No, business will not do that. It just doesn't make any, financial sense. So that's it. They will use it till it dies completely, becomes outdated, not working, like whatever it is. All right, so guys, please give me some feedback. Everything is clear so far? You had some, I don't know, some fun, clarified some, put your thoughts in order. All right, cool. So just one more thing, guys. Please, first of all, I want to apologize, right, for like whatever happened. My personal apology. And the second is I want you guys to spend a minute and provide a feedback using poll, right? For myself, for this class, for this particular one, not for the previous one. We read all of that and we appreciate it. But for this particular one, because again, no, like throw like whatever you think. And trust me, I read a lot of negative things about myself. I'm fine with that. And I agree with some of them as well. And sometimes I cannot do anything about them, which is sad, but it's just a reality. But please just spend 1 minute and give me your honest feedback, whatever it is, right? Anything, everything is appreciated. Yeah, it should be in LMS. Yeah, I believe it should be already in LMS, and the recording will be in LMS. Well, it's a practice session, so not much of the slides or anything. All right, thank you so much, guys. Yeah, good luck with well, I created the very first course, guys, so it's not the first class I'm teaching. I have quite a bit of experience in that. Yeah, thank you, guys, and good luck with the job hunting, and hope to see from you guys with your offers, ideally multiple offers. Your end goal is to get 2-3 offers and decide which one you want to take. That's kind of the goal. Not I mean, single offer is okay, but the real champions do multiple offers. I believe so far 4 offers is the maximum that I heard. I mean, never happened to me. I only had 2 maximum. I'm a loser. Only 2 offers. But no, it's you just go and take it. And good luck, guys. Bye-bye.